Thrones, fucking Game of Thrones, fucking Game of Thrones, fucking Game of Thrones, fucking Game of Thrones, yeah, Game of Thrones, yeah, Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones, fucking Game of Thrones, fucking Game of Thrones, fucking Game of Thrones, yeah, Game of Thrones, yeah, it's the Game of fucking Thrones, fucking Game of Thrones, fucking Game of Thrones, fucking Game of Thrones, fucking Game of.
Hello, and welcome to Game of Thrones, or Geek of Thrones, I should say, Season 8, Episode 2's episode, which is called A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Holy shit, this was a good episode. We're going to talk about this. My name is George. I'm your host, and with me today is a guest who is, well, how should I describe him? Well, I know how to describe him. He's Captain of House Kirk, and he also is somebody who does, I'll let him describe what he does. On other media, it's fine. How are you doing, Captain of House Kirk? John?
Doing pretty well. So I mean, I've written for popmythology.com, trekcore.com. I write for Back Issue magazine, and I've written for a number of websites in the past. But yeah, like I'm a defined Game of Thrones fan from way back. So yeah, happy to be here, and thanks for welcoming me.
Fantastic.
John, I've known you for a couple of years now. What was, you just want to tell the folks out there about your recent experience at Toronto Comic Con, what you were doing with them up there, because it was pretty outstanding.
By the way, Sean, you sound a little muffled. I don't know why. Just letting you know.
I don't know.
No biggie. Just a little bit.
Thanks, Sean.
You bet.
I'm sorry, what was your question to him? I didn't
I was just hoping John could just tell folks out there listening exactly what he was. I thought you were a host, an MC for Toronto Comic Con recently, were you not?
Sorry, exactly what I've been. Sorry, I missed that.
Oh, with Toronto Comic Con, what were you doing with Toronto Comic Con? You were a presenter, a host for Toronto Comic Con.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Right, but what's your response to his question?
Yes, I'm looking for more detail. This is an interview. You will be quite quizzed later.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have more to follow up on?
John, are you having trouble hearing me?
I think he's having trouble communicating.
Say that again, John.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Go for it. He's adapting to his new environment.
Yeah, so I host celebrity panels for Boston Comic Con, MegaCon in Florida, and Toronto Comic Con. So I've been doing that for the last 4 or 5 years, and just recently I finished Toronto Comic Con and interviewed everybody like John Delancey and Ron Perlman and guys like that. Last year I interviewed Christian Nairn from Game of Thrones.
Oh,
cool,
definitely. All right, so I'm glad to have you here. We'll call you. I'm just going to call you John, okay? I know you're Captain of House Kirk, but to make it easier,
Works for me, no worries.
Okay. Also with us, as usual, is Carlos of House Harumph. How are you doing, Carlos?
I'm doing great, thank you. I'm ready for action, and I love my Game of Thrones name, so let us go forth.
I love it too.
His motto for House Harumph is "We do no joy."
Okay, well, we can make this canon. That's fine. I'm Lord Commander George, by the way, of the Geeks Watch. Before we go any further, and the guy who just spoke up didn't talk very softly, but he is Raoul of the Whisperer. I don't know why he calls himself the Whisperer because he talks a little louder than a whisper, but he is Raoul the Whisperer. And how are you doing?
This is what happens when you have a Cuban in charge of your intelligence department.
I'm assuming that you were a smuggler of cigars.
That's right. I'm
Like Sir Davos.
Like Davos is the onion knight. I'm the cigar knight.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, I've been to Cuba twice and loved every minute I was there. So
Great,
awesome.
great. I'm very happy for you.
So now I have to tell you, John. I know a guy. He's in the chat. So I'm just letting you know.
Cool.
Bitchin', right? And also with us, as always, is our bastard, Sean Snow. How you doing, Sean?
We are entering a no pants zone again tonight, unlike Friday night where I couldn't due to state laws. But yeah, I'm good, man. No pants.
My
as
law.
usual.
Wait.
My
Did you
state is
say?
pretty free.
Did you say we're entering the no pants zone? Hang on, guys.
Woo.
Imagine a man dressed in latex, standing on rooftops, relying on throat cancer for intimidation. You have passed into a realm beyond sanity, beyond sense. A place unfortunately named the No Pants Zone.
Long enough. I'll edit that in. We have a bumper, by the way, John, that goes in there as a no pants thing. Anyways, so
That's Sean's preferred podcast
State of being.
style.
Yeah, my entrance. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my preferred my lifestyle.
yeah.
No pants.
Sean Pantless is actually his bastard name.
So we just saw the second episode of Game of Thrones, season 8, episode 2, and I don't know what to say. There's so much to unpack in this episode, but we knew that. The next episode is the one that everybody's been raving about, the whole battle for Winterfell, the one that everybody's saying is the biggest battle ever filmed on television. But leading up to it, like getting to this point and doing all the character development, doing all the exposition, as far as the second episode, there's a lot to take out of this. I'm going to start with our guest. John, what did you think of pretty much anything you want to talk about? Like, let's start with Daenerys and Sansa. And we can go back and forth across the whole episode. But I want to know what you think of... Obviously, she was being like my boyfriend's sister doesn't like me? Well, fuck her. Like, but seriously, like this... I thought they did some interesting things with this whole character dynamic. What do you think about that, and anything else you want to say?
Okay, so here's the thing I'm looking at. The whole episode you can break down into a series of moments, sort of like encapsulated in an entire theme. And the theme is, stated in the preamble, it's the things I do for love. So, everything I'm going to say pretty much is going to come back to that. But in specifically speaking about Sansa and Daenerys, the big comment is men are easily manipulated. And
yes.
It's like that's a bonding moment of sisters. However, the problem is that because there's only 6 episodes in this season, every moment has to be quickly abbreviated and communicated to the audience remarkably fast. So men are easily manipulated. Every woman in the audience is going to go, yeah, you're right, sister, you're right about that. But then they finish it off quickly to move on to something else. So, I mean,
But they leave it hanging a little bit with... Go ahead.
Every minute, every instant in this episode is all abbreviated moments that mean something. It all comes back to what I do for love. So I'll say that. I'll throw it out right now.
I don't know if you heard our last episode, John, but I did talk a little bit about Martin's defining,
he did. Yeah.
Martin's defining moments in his villains and strong characters is that they are defined by who they love.
That is true. We did talk about that. Like,
Yep.
love is a huge defining characteristic of this whole theme of the show. I had somebody... Okay, before we move on to anybody else's opinion, just before I forget, I did have a friend of mine who's not involved with online stuff, and he Facebooked me and he said, George, you're the one that got me into Game of Thrones. And he kind of said, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, my thing is, I believe that Jon's going to win the game. And I said, no, I don't agree with you. I think he's going to die. But he said, but the thing I've taken out of this guy's kind of religious, and he said, is this whole Game of Thrones is about family. And I said, well, if you really think that, you're going to be, I think you're going to be in for a little bit of a disappointment, because I think that Jon and Dany are both definitely going to die. But that doesn't mean that the family dynamic is not true. I think it's just going to be sort of executed in a way you're not expecting. But what you say about love, yes, everything, good or bad, happens for love.
I
Look
like
at
to
Cersei.
point out
Look at
that
Cersei.
last week. Do you remember what my big complaint last week was? I don't know if you recall this, but my big complaint last week was that I was sitting here geared up for this new episode, and it was just like I kept going through this. Come on, get on with it, get on with it, get on with it. And this episode is kind of similar, but something occurred to me in this episode, and that is that we are not watching 8 episodes or 6 episodes of a finale of a TV series. What we are watching is a 6-hour-long movie. Is
Yes.
what we're watching.
Yes.
That can be stated about this season, I think, more than any other. That we had our first act last week. It's going to be there's 6 acts to this. Our first act was last week. Our second act is this week, and I have a great appreciation for last week because of this now, and how this whole episode just played out. The calm before the storm, the preparations for war, the interpersonal dynamics between all the characters, that fireplace scene. I think my favorite. It's easy to point to that fireplace scene as the best scene. But I think one of the most impactful scenes for me is the opening scene of this, where Jaime approaches Dany and Sansa, and they're trying to gauge if he's going to be loyal to them. And
I'm gonna keep going.
And Brienne stands up for him, and basically, like I said, when the text I sent or the message I sent, I said, Sansa's like, "Fuck you, bitch." You had my father. You attacked my father. You were working to have him killed.
And Dany, she almost thought they were on the same wavelength.
Right, and then Brienne steps up and says, "Hey, look, this guy's honorable. He defended me from getting raped, and he lost his hand for doing it." And so Sansa says very simply,
Right.
Would you trust?
Right.
Would you trust this man? And Brienne says something like, "With my life." And shit, that's all you had to say.
Okay, so in that
and that
moment,
was
in
enough
that
for her.
scene, in that scene right there, there's 3 moments of love, right? Like that, and that's what it comes back to for me. Is Brienne says he lost his hand for me. He's a man of honor, and then you have and then you have, of course, oh shit, oh, gotta check my notes. Then, of course, you have, like, the brother, you have Tyrion sitting there going, yeah, I will vouch for him, right? You have, like, also the fact that he's there on his own recognizance, betraying his own sister.
Right.
So there's, like, those 3
lover.
instances right there, and he's like, I'm willing to do this thing, and it's awesome. Like, I mean, that's the right thing to do, and it's abbreviated.
Right, and I really appreciated. I really appreciate the fact that Sansa. This was I think, like a kind of a very big watershed moment for this character. She showed that she's a leader and that she makes decisive, informed, pragmatic decisions. And I liked her before, but she
totally,
really,
yeah.
I mean, in front of Daenerys, without even thinking twice about it, this is how it's going to be, and that's it.
Yeah,
Sean,
totally.
I believe that where she learned that one from is Littlefinger. I think that you saw a lot of Littlefinger.
Yes,
in
you
her.
did.
I agree. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was definitely, yeah. Keep on.
I think that for sure, Sansa. I felt like since last season they had all these scenes with her that were sort of building her up to becoming this a kind of a ruler in her own right, but she hadn't really done anything that really proved it. It was
Agreed.
like it was like they put this wrapping around her, and you felt like there was a great present inside, but we never got to open the present. Tonight we got to open the present, and
sure
we
did.
saw her strong and smart.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Notice the costume. Notice the
yes.
wardrobe.
Oh yeah, the costume was. I won't. I don't mind saying it. It was hot.
The intended Kira costume was fucking amazing. I loved it.
Jamie, okay, so
Wait, 1 second, George. 1 second. I also want to point out that Brianna of Tarth,
Brienne
of Tarth, is her moment was tonight as well. Her acting in this episode was outstanding.
Oh yeah, her and Jamie.
Yes, it was emotive. It was sympathetic. It drew the audience in. It was excellent. She was an excellent actress.
Yep.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's no accident that they titled this Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and her titled. She was literally titled Night of the Seven Kingdoms in the episode.
To follow up on what Carlos just said, just to bring it up, what I loved about that moment that made the title what it is they were all trying to keep warm, and they knew tomorrow could bring death. And a few of the characters that have never usually interacted are drinking together. Except for I love the fact that Brienne. She says,
"Is that the fire? Is that
the fireplace moment? Yeah. And she says, "No, Podrick, that's her squire." She's like, "No, half a cup." And he's just like, okay. So I love the fact.
To be fair, that was Tyrion. Tyrion that said, "Here, take a."
No, and he filled it anyways. Did you notice that? He filled the whole cup.
Yeah, he went along with that, and that was beautiful.
Yep. And
doesn't give a fuck.
Because that's what I love about this. Some of these characters have interacted, and Tyrion knew Podrick, and he knew, all right, whatever. I'm going to fill the cup anyways. And he wanted to have some drinking buddies, and they're facing this situation, and he's like, but they're like getting to know each other. And Sir Davos walks in, and everybody's just kind of going, I'm trying to keep warm. But when Brienne and Jaime suddenly steps up, and he says, actually, a knight can knight someone else, and then he does that. And when he did that moment, at first I think Brienne was thinking like it was white. For example, okay, it would be like us, and you guys looking at me and going, if I had a couple of beers, going, oh yeah, well, what are you gonna do? You're kind of buzzed. But he actually had that authority, so he steps up. And he got serious.
Here, George, I don't think that she thought it wasn't serious. I think with Brienne is that she has made it very clear from the very, very beginning that it is far more important to her to be honorable and to be loyal than it is to have a title of a knight. Okay, as much as she wants it in her heart, I could not see her ever saying, "Oh yes, please make me a knight." That would never happen. I think that was the logical conclusion to that is why she was hesitant in the beginning until Jaime basically says, "Get over here, I'm making you a knight."
Which you realize he was serious.
But you know what? I would totally go along with that. Yeah, I would totally agree with that completely, because if you look at the expression, her first thought is she's been rejected like all of her life because she wanted to be a warrior. She wanted to be a soldier, right?
She wanted to be a knight.
Right. And because no female knight has existed, she wanted to be one. And he looked at her and went, "No, this is your knight."
In more than one way, exactly.
And the thing about this was like, this reminded me of kind of an odd reference. So this reminded me of a scene from Band of Brothers or from Saving Private Ryan, when they're all the camaraderie of all these warriors together who have this great battle in common and this mutual respect amongst each other. And that there's no difference. It's like the red hair guy whose name I always forget. He's like, what the fuck does it matter if you're a woman or not? And that was the feeling in this room.
That's Tormund.
Tormund Giantsbane, yeah.
Right, and it doesn't. None of that matters. What matters is that we are here. We are all brothers and sisters in arms, and we are preparing for this great battle together. And we're gonna need each other. So
I love the one-up
none of this
stories. When Tormund tells Jaime, I killed a giant, and Jamie's just looking at Tyrion going, okay, that's nice. You know what I mean? Like, you got to remember, half of these people have never seen supernatural things that all the other characters have seen. So it's like, for Jamie's point of view, it's like he only just saw a White Walker for the first time, let alone hearing stories about, oh yeah, giants are real, by the way. You know, none of that shit. And he started dragging. This is all new to him. So it's like, okay.
I think
okay, but you know what's interesting, though? You know, okay, but you know what's...
Go ahead, John. You're fine.
While we wait for him to step back in, I think the shot that really sold this scene for me was after she was knighted, and we saw something we rarely see. In fact, I can't think of any other time it happened.
Hang on, Kirk. Hang on, Kirk. Take off your... Yeah, there you go. Go ahead.
Was Brienne smiling? That wide smile that she had.
Oh, yeah,
I don't think we've seen that ever in this show.
My family
it was gorgeous.
Responded to that very, very positively.
Yeah, and I will say that moment was the first time in this series. I mean, I love the show, but that's the first time in the series I giddily, like a fanboy, just clapped. I was cheering. It was the happiest moment I think I've ever seen on this show.
You were Giantsbane, Sean. You didn't know.
And you know what's cool about that scene was he was trying to woo Brienne. She knew it, but she was just kind of like well, you know, but he was actually being kind of charming. I thought it was kind of cute.
Yeah, he was
from a wildling point of view.
He was, but you know, that's not his sole motivation at all. I mean,
I know, but
I mean, look, that's a dude that wears everything on his sleeve. There's no bullshit with him. He's telling you how it is. He's not gonna, you know, just.
He was trying to raise it to the next level, though, in order to impress the woman he would like to.
I don't think it was.
What he's saying is that it's not that simple.
Right. Exactly. To him, it's much deeper than anything about trying to get in her pants. He really believes everything that he said right then and there.
No, I agree with you. I'm not saying it was just from meeting call.
It really is about the camaraderie of all these warriors together. Is what it really comes down to.
When he pulls that
she's one of them.
What's interesting is that not all of them are even warriors. I mean, Tyrion,
Davos, even
right, exactly,
you know?
Right. Yep.
Well, look at Samwell when he talks about how, hey, I've killed a White Walker. When they had that moment on the wall with the White.
I was the first man to kill a White Walker.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But what's left of the Night's Watch have their little reunion, so to speak. The three of them.
That was nice. That was
nice.
Come here, let's go ahead and talk about that right now. Let's talk about that right now.
Before we leave the fireplace.
Okay, go ahead. The fireplace.
One thing I wanted to point out.
Stay warm.
Yeah, the other thing that I loved was I think it was Tyrion who pointed out, you know, everyone who's around this fireplace, around this fire, at one point or another, we have fought against one another, and look where we are today.
That's why I think it's called the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, as much as it is a night with a K, because a night it's all the Seven Kingdoms combined to face this threat.
I think I agree with you, Raul. Yeah,
that was my initial point. I think that the obvious is Brienne of Tarth.
Right, but I think it is double meaning, like you said. Yeah,
but it is double meaning, I believe.
Yeah, Kirk, you were about to speak up. What were you gonna say?
Well, you've got Podrick, Jaime, Tyrion, Davos, Brienne, and you've got Tormund. And you know the cool thing is that they're all sitting there going, we've all been, you know, against the Starks. And the funny thing is, Tormund and Podrick aren't. And they're just sitting there going, no, we're here to be, like, survivors. So that was the big thing about that scene. Everybody's in it for, you know, just to survive. And that's the whole thing about Jaime. Like, Jaime betrayed his family to say, I want to be on the side of life. So that was kind of the cool thing for me.
Well, one of my favorite characters is the Hound. And the Hound's moment where he's on the wall, he's despondent. He's disappointed in himself. You can tell by his attitude that he's fighting for other people instead of fighting for himself. Well, and then she comes along, little Arya, and says, "You're upset because you've never fought for anybody." And he goes, "I fought for you."
I love
that. Was sweet.
Yes, yes.
That was a fantastic moment.
Yes.
And she kept it as short as it needed to be, but she was there. At least Arya is what a great character.
Arya is the best character in the series. Period.
I'm close to agreeing with you on that, but
I know you love Jon, but it's Arya all the way.
It's Jon for me all the way, but she's right behind him. And the thing is that Maisie. It's also the actress Maisie Williams. You know what? Since we're talking about her, we might as well bridge off for this. The sex scene, her and Gendry. I'm going a little out of order, but we might as well talk about it.
Segue.
Sean sort of. Well,
segue.
we're talking about Arya, and we knew they were flirting.
Actually, we were talking about the Hound.
Sean,
But,
but we also talked about her
to woo his women. So
we have side boob, we have blurred out nipples, according to Sean. He analyzed this.
Wasn't blurred; it was digitally removed.
Ass crack.
Okay.
But she said to him, we might not survive. I want to experience. She asked him, how many women have you been? He said pretty much 3 after she interrogated him. And then she's like, I want to experience this. So
did you notice during the scene the hint of jealousy of the red woman of the sorceress?
He didn't get into it. He even went out of his way to say, but we didn't. But he actually did. He was in her for a little while. But anyways.
Yeah, he did say that. You're right.
Because you could tell.
Because technically he was kind of in her.
George,
But anyways.
I'm talking.
okay, let's move on. I don't care.
Go ahead, Raul.
Wait. Well, what I was gonna say was when they're taking off their clothes, she goes, "I'm not the red lady. You take off your own pants."
Oh,
Yeah, that was great.
That's a nice touch.
I didn't catch that.
That's why you know she was still thinking about it, because women are like that, George.
Here's my feeling.
They
about
are.
that
You're right.
About that whole scene. I thought it kind of came out of the blue.
Or out of the red.
This is about my only real place where I think that there was a hiccup in the episode because everything was so smooth, and then that just kind of came out.
You don't think it was building up to this, Sean?
They built up to it. They built up to it.
The two characters.
Yeah.
I didn't think so, but whatever. I mean, the point being is that though it was executed. It was executed well. It was fine, and
I agree.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It certainly makes sense.
All right, so we know that. So Arya, it's not a shock. I think people. I will tell you guys this. I'm not going to sidetrack this too much, but on the internet, people are freaking out because they feel that the character was too young, and I'm like, she's like over 18.
God, she's
18.
like
She's
19 years old.
Right.
But
the actress
okay,
is what, 22?
By the way, Gendry is only 3 years older than her. So they're like going, he was taking advantage of her, and I'm like, what are you talking about? She was the one that wanted it.
Let's not talk about it.
You know what? But okay, to give you perspective about this, I teach 14-year-olds, okay? And I have taught 14-year-olds in my neighborhood for the last 17 years. So those 14-year-olds that I remember have grown up, and I see them now, and to be honest, they are good looking, they are very attractive. And then when I see them with a boyfriend, I get very disturbed because I remember them
that's where these
as children.
Yeah.
That's totally where it's coming from. It's a patronizing attitude, and I'm not saying you are, John, because these are people but I think these people on the internet are they just can't handle the fact that girls become women and can make their own choices, and so it must be about taking advantage
also,
of
this is one of the only one of the very few consensual decisions that a woman has made on the show.
What?
As someone else pointed out in defense of Arya's thing.
What? I don't think that's
Arya?
True.
Well, I mean, she's the one that pretty much threw herself on him. He was just like, okay.
You're consent. Is that? I don't think the word you're thinking is consensual.
That's what I meant.
Yeah. She's the aggressor, is what you're saying.
Exactly. But on the interwebs,
that's not the same thing.
No, I know. What I mean is,
George, you tend to give people on the internet a little too much credit.
You're right.
Because they're basically wrong, but you also always feel like, to be fair to them, you should state their
I'm giving them a soapbox, and I shouldn't.
Case.
I agree with you.
Well,
I must learn from that.
Here's the other thing about this too is that I think what a lot of fans have done recently is they've binged all 7 seasons in a very short period of time, so they're not making a distinction between Arya in year 1 as opposed to Arya in year 8, if you know what I mean.
That's pretty much what it is. And
yeah, I totally go with that, because this is the thing. We don't expect children to grow up, but these are children who have grown up in front of the public eye, and we have to accept that now they are old enough to make their own choices, and then that's what Maisie Williams did. She did.
So let me ask Carlos a question.
Here's
John.
the logic of it. Hold on. Here's the rationale. We got no problem with her murdering people left and right, but when she decides to have sex, no, we can't do that.
It's called the Protestant ethic, and
there you go.
It defines sex as off limits, but violence as okay. And
because violence is a job, and we're all about doing work, but not about having fun with, AKA sex.
So, Carlos, while we're on this subject, we had a prediction a couple of episodes ago about I kind of agreed with you at the time that we talked about it, that she will go, our prediction that she will go off and just do whatever, and she'll disappear, and not be part of any of the politics or anything like that.
I did not.
Now, well, you weren't there, Raul, actually, in all fairness. Do we still think that after this happening, I personally think that he's going to die next episode. Do we think that, no matter what happens, that she's going to still slip away into the background, or do we think that this having a relation with him, because she's always sort of shown. I watched an interview. And Maisie Williams explained that if you pay attention, she's always kind of fond for him, and that they just, she got older and they were consensual age and stuff happened. So I'm wondering, do we think that this means that it doesn't define her, but do we still think she's going to go away and just say this was a thing that happened, or do you think that she and him, that she wants this to be a thing? What do you think?
Well, I think it's too early to say, and the reality is that it is one of those liaisons that it's basically Game of Thrones version of a war marriage,
Yeah,
it's like we may die, so we might as well go ahead and get married, and obviously
that's
get married. But my point is that they're making this decision because they think they might die, and if they survive, then kind of everything's back on the table again. So I don't know what it means. I mean, is there an opportunity, obviously, for her to pursue that? Maybe. I mean, she. It depends how much of sort of the, assassin's way of life she's really buying into.
Right.
And I'm not sure we know that yet. We know, that she sought revenge for the, people who wronged her and her family. But how much beyond that does it go, as now we get to the point where that's becoming less and less of a motivation for her.
Let's talk about.
Can I have
go ahead.
She's yeah.
Yeah.
She's a foot soldier. I agree with that. She's a minor character. She's a supporting character, and she's there for her family. I think she's learned that. I don't see her pursuing this relationship to take the throne or anything like that. I agree with that.
Switched.
No, that's not what I meant. Oh, I don't think she's a minor character, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
The recording
We
too.
lost recording.
That was weird.
I'm in charge.
No, recording is continuing. I just, for some reason, I bumped in another channel.
My point about Arya is that as long as she has family, she will not slip away into the darkness. If every single member of House Stark and adopted brothers.
Channel switched. Channel switched. Channel switched.
Okay, that's weird because I didn't touch anything. Hang on. The recording's still going, so we're still good.
Yeah, what did you capture? I was in the middle of whatever.
I was gone for a second. I don't know why I did that. It was weird.
Okay, never mind.
Just start again, Robert. No, I want to hear it.
Okay, so as long as Arya has family members, and Kirk touched on this, she will remain in the limelight. The minute they all die, and they may all perish, all of House Stark may perish in the next few episodes. So it's then, or House Stark's apparent sons, which is Greyjoy and Jon Snow, and if they're both dead as well, then she'll slip away into the night and become faceless.
Yeah, I think I agree with this. I'll tell you why. It's because after she returned to the man with the man with, is the man without a face? Is that who is that who the guy is? That
Faceless Men.
The faceless man. Okay, after she returned to the faceless man after killing the assassin that was supposed to kill her, he says to her, I think something along the lines as, now the girl truly has no name, and she says, "No, I do have a name, and it's Arya Stark." And that's what I think the defining moment of that of her is that she is Arya Stark. Okay, she has all this training, but she did not lose her individuality over this at all. That's where I think this stands right now until something major happens that would send her down that path again.
All right, let's switch for a second to talk about the reveal that Jon talked to Dany and she, they went there. Hey, I'm actually Aegon Targaryen, and she pointed out he's the last male heir of the Targaryen line. She didn't freak out like you're a threat to me. She admitted to Sansa that, hey, I love your brother. Great moment when they had this.
Yeah, but that was before he told her that, though. That's
right.
The thing.
Right.
I very much got the impression that she saw it as a threat. And
her hackles went up for sure.
Right. I was waiting for Jon to say either A, I'm taking the throne, or B, no, I have no intention of telling anyone this but you.
Right, you're right. We never got him to say his sentence.
They left us hanging on that one, is what they did.
Yeah, I agree with them.
Yeah, because those, pesky White Walkers who just happened to show up. Those
they just
party
happened
crashers.
to show up.
They're such a buzzkill.
Yeah. It was amazing though, because we were, they're trying to not get to the point before the big battle next episode. Because seriously, from this next episode on, it's going to be amazing. But when she was waiting for him to answer her after what she said, also they did the same thing when she was talking to Sansa. Sansa was trying to figure out, okay, and when the war's over, what's going to happen to the North? And before she can actually explain it, and they were having a good bonding moment,
right?
But right before she could respond, somebody walked in, and interrupted them. It happens every time. Kind of weird,
right? Exactly. They're making a point to set this up that yes, this is a problem down the road, but not one that we're going to address right now. Is what it comes down to. There are bigger concerns for this narrative. And by the way, did you guys see the trailer for the next episode that came out?
Yes, I did. Yep.
And what did you hear Dany say that was that almost confirms everything George predicted? Do you remember what she said?
I don't recall, but if you because you're about to George, pimp me,
tell us.
Here's what she said. She said the dead are already here. Okay, so this goes back to your theory about the crypts. Right. That's how I'm looking at that. I don't know if anybody else caught that.
I did.
I did hear that, but I assumed they were talking about here as in outside our walls.
No. The dead are here inside the crypt.
Yeah, she said already is what she said.
Already. They've been here.
Yeah, that's how I took that. So
one thing I wanted to mention that nobody has mentioned yet, the most touching reuniting moment was or the most pointed, I think, was
Theon?
Lannister.
Oh,
no,
okay.
Lannister.
Let him
and
say
Bran.
it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Who?
That was Jamie and
Bran.
Yeah,
because it was else, so. Huh? They are the touchstone of the series. They are. Threw everything into. Excuse me.
Finish your thought, Roll.
They are what everybody. What everything that's thrown into motion was because what happened between them two.
Yes, absolutely. I always said that everything. Okay, and by the way, we're gonna go back to this, but Tyrion being sort of everybody going, I doubt you now, and also we're gonna talk about how Jorah stuck up for him. But it's always been about. I told you guys this last week. The one consistent thing is that Tyrion loves his brother. The two of them are like they're the family that everybody else can talk about, like my father, my wherever, but Jaime and Tyrion have always been the thing. They're like fucked up family.
Sure, but I think Raul's talking about something that's bigger than that, and that's the fact that
I thought you were talking about Jaime and
Jaime's interaction with Bran, basically throwing him out the window.
Oh, with Bran?
In some ways.
Oh, all right, yeah, that's
talking about Bran.
Do you listen to what I say?
Yeah, we're back to this conversation.
I thought you were talking about Jaime. Sorry,
no, he said Bran.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misheard you. That's why.
No, you didn't. You said Tyrion and talked over him. That's why you thought he said it.
I didn't talk over him.
You did. But
all right, sorry.
Anyway, the point being that the show, and Bran says this to Jaime, the show wouldn't be what it is. I mean, the history of what's happened in the last 8 years wouldn't be what it was if Jaime hadn't played that part and Bran hadn't played that part. And that's why neither of them is well, I mean, Jaime does say he's sorry, but he also says that he wouldn't have done anything different. So I thought that was an important thing to realize, both the emotions behind them finally talking to one another and the realities of what their sense of duty is now.
Bran basically says that this is a fate thing, that if you hadn't done this, I wouldn't be who I am, you wouldn't be who you are today.
And I think you guys called that last time.
Yeah,
and that it's necessary.
Yeah, you guys called that last time. You guys said that what was going to happen was Bran. I think Carlos said it. He was going to say, "I wouldn't be here if this hadn't happened." It was fate, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
You know what?
We should keep a scorecard of our predictions.
We should. What was that, Kirk? I'm sorry, you were about to say something. Kirk?
John, you with us?
I'm on, yeah. I have to say, it's the Lannisters that actually really matter in this episode, because not only are they the cause of everything that comes to bear in this episode, but they also show themselves to be part of the solution that's going to happen. Like, Jaime, really rises to the occasion, and he's grown so much. And Tyrion is amazing. Like, he can't be the whoremonger that he used to be. He's the hand of the queen. And then they both actually realize that Cersei is a treacherous bitch, and Jaime is the one who knights Brienne of Tarth, tells everybody, yes, he's really sorry for all the crap that his family has brought, and he's there, despite his family, to, stand on the side of the living. So it's the Lannisters that actually stand out in this episode, I gotta say.
That's why you're drinking what you're drinking, right? You talked about this on your social media. You said you were going to pick a drink based on what house stands out. And so Lannisters, right?
And you know what? You're right. It's the Islay Lagavulin, which is a 9-year-old Scotch. It's aged, and Game of Thrones HBO actually approved this one for their branded Scotch. And yeah, it's a harsh one to swallow at the end of the day, I gotta tell you. But it is beautiful when you think about everything that you've gone through during the day. This is the Scotch that you want to end at the end of the day, and at the end of this episode, I went with that one.
We will reach out to the people that made that, and hope they will sponsor us by sending us free alcohol. So,
which brings us back to Tyrion, because this is something we talked about a bit last week, and we see more of it dealt with this week with a bit of a positive upswing. But I think there's still an open question around, what the hell are they doing with Tyrion? And of course, the story that we saw in tonight's episode was about Daenerys kind of finding faith in him again after all of the mistakes he's made recently, and I think Jorah makes the case to her that he's made mistakes, but he also owns them, which is a sign of wisdom.
Scene.
It was, and her saying, you have to be in the crypts because I need you for when after I can't afford to lose you if I'm going to take the Iron Throne. All of those were great things, but the fact of the matter is, he still has made those mistakes. He still hasn't redeemed himself, and I think, and I hope that they're setting him up for doing something big. Just like, well, and we've seen this before. In the Battle of the
Bastards
for King's Landing.
Blackwater.
Where he shone in that, preparing and carrying through that defense effort against Stannis' army, and I think and hope that they're building up to that here too, because I would really hate to see, after such a strong start for so many seasons, for this character to sort of just become, functionally irrelevant. I mean, I don't see it happening because he really is a fan favorite, but I just hope that they're doing this for a reason. And my guess is
my prediction is he will die, but it won't be till the very last episode.
I've pointed out before that Tyrion is the Daryl Dixon of this show. If for those who watch The Walking Dead, I don't expect Tyrion.
He's not going to die. Yeah,
he will. But it will be in the last episode.
No, he won't.
I doubt it.
Yes.
But I do want to say
I'll bet you
about
$3.
that. I don't care about that. I want to say this though about that you predicted last week. Not last week, but I think it was our episode 0 we had the preseason show that Tyrion was going to switch sides or something like that, and that these like he did, he's gonna wind up betraying her, giving her bad advice or anything. And the point we're making about this was that, look, Tyrion, and this is a point they made tonight too, and we were trying to make to you at the time, Tyrion is human. He makes mistakes, okay? And Joru pointed out, as Carlos just said, that, yeah, but he owns them, okay? When he makes them, he owns them. So you can't look at his decisions, any decisions he's made, as being any bit of an issue of...
like Daenerys points out, they're big mistakes. They're not small mistakes.
Let him finish, George.
Okay. It's not an issue of betrayal. It's just a matter of poor judgment. And sometimes, I don't even think his mistakes were poor judgment. I think he was on the right side. It just didn't work out, is what I think. So, but at the end of the day, Joe is right that he's the guy you want there, giving you the advice at the end of the day. He really is.
And they had one small sort of moment, but Jorah, who was of House Mormont, had his moment with Lady Lyanna,
which was adorable.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
Sean
just segued into it, so let's talk about that.
Did you notice how taller she is now?
Oh yeah,
she's growing up on the show. I think she'll die. But go ahead.
Jesus, George, you think everyone's gonna fucking die?
No, but I do have my reasons for why, and I think she'll die. I think she'll be alongside him actually when the fight comes next episode.
Jorah.
Oh
let me
man,
tell you
don't say
looks like
that.
Heston. Does anybody make that comment?
Yes, he does look like Charlton Heston.
My God, the man.
He also looks like Roger Moore. Have you noticed that,
a
Raul?
little bit, yeah.
I agree with that too.
Roger Moore for the win. Yeah.
Yep. He's also our Batman on the CW apparently. No, not the CW, the DC universe, but whatever.
He's what I want to grow up to be. Seriously, that's the way I want to age.
When does those good looks get handed out?
You saw me last episode on the show, so I'm like him with a beard.
Oh,
no,
yeah,
dude,
George,
actually, I pointed
absolutely.
this out. You're like, you look like from the show The Last Ship. I sent you that pic. You look like Tex Nolan from the
Wait till
Last
I
Ship.
shave. You'll be amazed. You'll be like, what the hell? Is this guy? Same guy?
Yeah, it's kind of a good look for you. You're working it.
I'm like Jorah. I'm telling you. Anyways,
I said that George always looked like a Quantum's physics professor at college.
Oh, that's kind of weird that you thought that, but thanks, I guess. So Jorah is going to die next episode with Lady Mormont. But anyways, that's my thought. So they're having a moment, but right now, that's going to happen. But they have a moment.
Doesn't matter.
You guys are going to laugh until next episode.
You're going to die too.
So, everybody's going to die someday. Everybody's going to die someday.
I come from House Harumph. Of course I'm going to die.
Of course. And but she said to him, like, she's pretty much like, whatever. I thought she was going to chastise him about the whole you shame our house and all this other
George,
bullshit.
if you predict everyone's going to die, then you're going to
No, listen. I'll tell you my list real quick. Just for hell of it.
Please.
No,
it's
you
really quick.
Do that.
No,
you did that already.
All right, we'll do that. No, I didn't tell you guys.
Yes,
Save it for our online audience, please.
It's Jorah.
Yeah, let's stick to the episode.
All right. Yes. So we get past that part. And then Arya had her thing, and she.
Don't forget her great send-off line. She had a great send-off where she says, "I wish you well, cousin."
Oh yeah. And she said, "I wish you good fortune." She didn't.
Good fortune. That's what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
She didn't finish it in the worst to come.
And then all those big warrior men were like, "Yes, milady, yes, milady." They were all scraping.
It was a nice send-off.
Okay. You. Okay. Here's the thing about that is that if you haven't read Ken Follett's Pillars of the Earth,
I have.
That's a primary reader for Game of Thrones. So that some characters.
If you're a big reader, sir, you must have read the actual inspiration, which is what's his name?
Let go of the button, Kirk.
1 second.
Go ahead, Sean. I mean Raul. Go.
Oh.
Okay.
While we're waiting, the song that Podrick sang.
I was just going to say.
John, finish. I want to hear what you're saying about the pillars. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, we're just waiting for him.
Here's the thing, because everybody outside of the geek experience is going to say, "Oh, it's just full of violence and sex and nudity and everything." And if you've read Ken Follett's Pillars of the Earth, you'll go, "Oh no, you know what? I get this, because people are mean, right? And everything Lyanna Mormont is 11 years old and she's ready to take control of her house. I doubt she's
11 now. She was. You're right.
Yeah, but she's awesome. She's ready to do battle, and it's amazing, right? And people are like, "Oh no, we shouldn't subject children to this. Children are ready for battle."
Fucking A.
That's so cool. It's awesome.
The thing I wanted to bring up, I finally found the name, was Bernard Cornwell, who wrote a series of Arthur but realistic tales. I don't know.
I met him. Oh my God, I interviewed him. He's amazing.
Writer.
Yeah,
he's one of the best writers alive today, including Martin. He is up there.
So
yes.
I love this nerding out. This is great.
Let's talk about.
Oh my God, he's so cool, because he actually he goes back and validates all of his stuff with history. He goes back to Henry IV, he goes back to Richard II, and all of his I didn't say shit. All of his stuff comes back, and it's But you know what? It all comes back to the human experience, and it's so validated. It's amazing.
Let's talk about Podrick's song, Jenny's song. They've been planting that all over the internet afterwards. It's amazing. The guy has a great voice. I don't know the actor's name, but holy fuck! And they even did the end thing with that song, which is why I think he's gonna die. But anyways, Podrick, that song.
Good God! Because he sang a fucking song.
That's a death knell right there. Hey, look.
Yes.
Hey, there is
So now is the time for us to talk. Does that mean I'm dead?
I mean, look, Whitney Houston died.
You're dead now.
Okay. Michael Jackson has died. There are singers who have died. So I think George has a point here. I think we can go with that.
How much have you been drinking?
God.
And they wear gloves. So,
There you go.
I mean, I just think anyways, so he sang the song at the right moment, and it was during that fireplace moment, going back to that, but they used it as also the end credits song, which was pretty cool.
Yes, very cool. It reminded me something. It reminded me a little bit of Kingdom of Heaven, where one of the captains sings.
Yeah, it was almost it was like a shanty, to be honest. Is like what it was, and it
was a dirge actually.
Well, there you go. And again, back to like what I said about Saving Private Ryan. Okay, you remember that scene at the very end where they're all sitting around waiting for the Germans to come?
Yes.
And they've got that. That song playing on the record from that French singer, and he's translating all the words. Reminded me very much of that scene. Everybody just got real quiet just to hear what she was saying and to hear the song. And it was a great moment entirely. It wrapped up that scene so perfectly.
Perfect. And so we get to. I found it interesting that they actually downplayed John in this episode, except for his scene with Danny, where
it wasn't really about him. The whole episode was not about him. It was about everyone else. That's why. And I would like to point out something else too that we haven't talked about: the reunification of Theon Greyjoy and Sansa. Okay. Now, this is what I realized about this episode when that happened, is that what they are doing is they are laying the groundwork for who our heroes really are. And all of our heroes we saw tonight. These are our heroes. Every single one of these people, these are our heroes. What happens to them, we don't know. But including Theon Greyjoy, who is a hero. He is
definitely a hero.
He's tragic, and he's gone through the
flawed.
He's flawed, but at the end of the day, he is a hero too. And we established that there's no, that with Sansa, that the shit in the past don't matter to her at all. It doesn't matter whatsoever that he is one of them.
Yeah, I buy that. Like, after everything Theon has done, it's a journey. And at this point, he gets to the point where he goes to Sansa and says, "I'm so sorry, but I'm yours." And that's amazing.
And she welcomes him back
so
like a brother.
And that's the thing.
She welcomes him back like a brother. So
right.
Yes.
Right. It's not even like that. It was like there was like any hesitation or anything like that with Jamie or anything like that. It's like she knows. She knows in her heart that what he is saying is true, and that he is a brother to her. Absolutely.
And even more than that, though, it's not that just that he's her brother. They have both suffered at the hands of the same man.
Yes.
Ramsay Bolton.
Yep.
You know, I feel bad because I know this is going to sound really shitty right now. I'm sorry. But it's obvious that they're shipping Theon and Sansa, but he doesn't have a penis anymore. And it's like, I know that like they've proven with Greyjoy.
So people who are disabled in that way aren't allowed to have love. Is that the idea of it, George?
Yes.
This is why I said it's. This is why.
Well, then maybe you shouldn't say it if it's not.
Well, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it. I am a contrarian. I'm going to say it. But I'm going to say I'm a contrarian like in an Archie Bunker kind of way. So I'm going to say if you don't have a penis and you have a woman, yeah, you can use your tongue. But anyways.
Really? Are we really going there?
George.
Well, I mean...
George, step back, okay?
Part of the show George
the other one, Missandre, and Greyjoy proved you could have a penisless relationship.
Thank you, George. I don't think we need to dwell on that, honestly.
I mean, anyone out there listening, if you have no penis...
George,
and
serious.
George, enough.
Stop.
Okay.
I don't think... I didn't see...
It's a joke, but...
I didn't.
You took too far, so let's get back on track.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay, I don't see this as being a shipper relationship at all. Okay, I think you're looking too much into it, to be quite honest. I just see this relationship as a very strong due to their history together, and of course, as Carlos pointed out, their history of torment and torture at the hands of Ramsay Bolton.
Yeah, I agree with that, actually.
I mean, there's a bond there that I don't think anyone else on the show has like that. This kind of this common experience. I mean, that's fucked up. You know what the two of them both went through.
That's true.
At Ramsay Bolton's hands.
They were both tormented. Yes, I totally agree. They have a mental bond. It's very strong. I agree with you. And they had that common denominator that she did. I mean, she was rescued by him, And although anyone else might not understand why, she immediately hugs him. And you saw Daenerys' like reaction. She's just like, "Wow, you're pretty." And she's met him too, but she's just like, "Wow, you really."
It was more than a hug. It was a full-on embrace.
Right.
It was like she embraced her brother, John.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And she did grow up with him. That's true.
You know, it's interesting. Ramsay Bolton played a character in the English science fiction television series Misfits of Science, right? And he was actually the hero. So he was this guy that actually sacrificed his life for like 3 years, went back in time, fixed all the issues that his character. Yeah, and he did this, and I look at this series and I see him as the total bastard, and you know I appreciate from the full spectrum of what this guy could be like, and then Sansa like gets rid of him, disposes him, and then I see everybody like going, he's in the past. You know, Theon, what he went through and what he did, that's enough. That's enough to make himself a brother of Sansa. That's good enough for me.
And by the
Go ahead, Sean. What were you gonna say?
Oh, by the way, he also played Nick Mars in the Netflix biopic of Motley Crue as well. And it was I'm watching it. I'm going, and he's like a totally opposite character to Ramsay Bolton. It's like I'm watching going, I'm so glad he's playing a nice guy in this, because as Ramsay Bolton, he was just so vicious and he was like the kind of character you love to hate, like on the level of Kai Wynn and Deep Space Nine. I mean, just even more so, just so brutal. So it was nice to see him playing a role of a guy who wasn't, just a vile piece of filth.
Agreed. So anyways, as the episode unfolded, we have to talk about Arya and the Hound. Oh, we already talked about that, didn't we? We talked about them having a reunion. I'm sorry. I forgot that they already had their reunion. We talked about that. So, pretty much this was mostly, I think, Sean, you said this, it was sort of like part 2 of the whole catch-up. The whole everybody getting in reunite.
It's act 2 of a 6-hour movie is what it is.
Yeah.
Movie. Yep.
By the time we might as well move on. We end the episode with everybody being informed that, and of course we talked about this already, but John and Danny talking about his origin, and they get interrupted because, well, the Night King. Oh, we don't know the Night King's actually there. I've heard a lot of.
It's the dead. They just know.
It's like it's an army of the dead with White Walkers. Now, here's the thing: I've looked into this. There's no concrete proof that the Night King himself is here. I think he is, but it's like this.
Why is this an issue?
I don't know. People are arguing about this online, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because they're saying if you don't see the Night King and the dragon, that it means he has other plans. I don't care. The point is,
it doesn't matter. The point is that the army is there.
Right, I agree with you. I'm just saying. I shouldn't even be giving them credit for that, but I'm just saying that what we've seen is we see a bunch of whites. We see at least 3 or 4, and the horse, and the whole thing. So we know shit's about to go down. It's about to get real. So let's end it with talking about the fact that that's how it ended. Now you have to remember too. We talked about this too. Many of the characters on this show hear things, and although Tyrion did see that one White Walker soldier go towards his sister, these people have not seen threat. People like Gilly. No, that's not true. She saw Samwell killed the White Walker, but we haven't seen most of these characters.
Did we talk about the Gilly scene though?
Should we? I think you're right.
Okay,
yeah, because it was.
That was a great
anybody
scene.
Thought about the fact?
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second.
Has anybody thought about this? All right. So here's the thought. Anybody thought about the fact that in the crypt, the crypt is filled with dead people.
We have that.
Anybody who's
we've
actually talked about in nauseam
on that quite a bit.
Yeah, Kirk. In past shows.
Yeah, come on. So they're all gonna die in the crypt. So I mean, they've all been telegraphed.
Oh no, we don't think they're.
That's not it. Die. We think they're gonna rise. I think they're gonna rise.
All the dead Starks.
Right. So all the Starks are gonna rise and kill them all. So I mean, that's a huge thing. Episode 3, that's gonna happen.
Next episode is gonna be The Thing. Yes. But as far as what I just mentioned, what do you guys think?
About Gilly?
Yes, Gilly. Let's talk about her. That scene with the kid and the little poverty kid and
and with Davos and
that was great.
She had something wrong with her face. Was it a rash or? But it's almost like it reminded him of what's her name, Stannis' daughter. And I thought that was really sweet, and how he turned it around into, or was it Gilly who turned it around into?
Gilly.
But you're protecting us.
Kind of both of them.
And I just thought, for once they made her sound like really wise, I mean, she's always been good-hearted, but always they kind of made her a little dumb, not dumb, but just uninformed. She didn't know much around the world. And tonight she sounded like she understood the world, and it was really refreshing.
Yeah. I totally agree with you on that. That was great. Anybody else have a different or a thought on this? That scene was amazing.
Watch the little girl. She may end up killing a White Walker.
She might.
I think
she wanted to fight.
We'll see something. Yeah, well, we're going to see what White's in the crypts.
Yes, I'm almost sure.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards that too, and I'm reminded of, who's the kid that wound up killing Egret and wound up stabbing John.
Sam.
Ollie.
Yeah, Ollie.
And I'm kind of reminded of that with her, in that she's thrust into this situation, and that she's going to be one of the child heroes of that whole battle in the crypt. I got a funny feeling about that.
What was it? 7 years ago? Sam was a boy, basically, a boy with a sword.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, but think about that. Ollie turned into a traitor. I think Gilly's going to be the leader. She's going to be the leader.
It's the
last series,
I'm
right?
talking about that little girl with the scar.
No, I know what you're saying, Sean, but I think he's right. I think Gilly's going to be a civilian sort of supervisor.
No, she's shown signs of giving very wise counsel to Sam along the way. I mean, she looks at things from a very pragmatic perspective, where Sam, Sam likes to overthink things, but in a good way. Sam's very analytical, but that's a good balance for him, and that she just looks at shit matter of factly, and like I said, pragmatically, and she's able to, there's wisdom in that. And
Sam is your classic scholar thrust into a dangerous world.
Yeah, so. And this is why we've determined, by the way, that he's not going to be on the front lines of this fight, right? I just want to make sure that.
Well, I actually don't agree with that. I think he's going to try to be brave, like with the Night's Watch.
He just gave his sword away.
That's true.
He has a role here. He's the maester. They need him.
He's going to live. I'm just saying he might try to fight. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my God, George predicts somebody's going to live, Sean.
No.
Yeah, I'm of the perspective that it is in their best interest to keep him out of the fight as much as possible, because he has a much bigger role to play in the.
No, I agree with you. I just don't know. I just think he's going to try, because remember, he's trying to be brave, like in the.
I think you saw that in tonight's episode. That was his attempt to try. I
agree.
He's following what his king is telling him to do.
He wants to be brave. I just think he looks to himself. He is, and John. I love their relationship.
I mean, he definitely
he's a brother
makes the case for it. But John also says it's more important for you to be down there. So
that's a good point.
And and by your own prediction, George, shit's going to be going down in those crypts. So it's a good thing he's down there.
Yeah. Well, you're right. We'll see. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to live. It's just what he's going to do before that, along the way. That's all I'm saying. Like, is he going to try to fight? Maybe. Go ahead, Raul.
I believe that Ned Stark is going to be a white walker.
It is possible.
Oh, don't say that.
No, it's true.
Oh, yes.
Kirk, I'll tell you. John, I'll tell you why.
George has been predicting that. So,
I have.
It must not happen because we know how George was predicting.
Well, no, it's not just. It's not just that. It's not about the books.
I'm just teasing you, George. I think that it's actually. It's not a bad prediction at all, and I think that your prediction, and I didn't see it coming either until Danny said they're already here in that trailer. I think that your prediction about them rising from the dead in the crypts, I think it's spot on, and
John,
the point is nobody's going to see it coming.
All right, Littlefinger said to Catelyn that he's going to send he sent back Ned's body, but the thing that wasn't actually specified. That the head may have been sewn back onto the body in order for sort of dignity, like when you have a burial, So I kind of picturing, and I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. I'm picturing like he comes out, Sean Bean, and his head's got that little the sewing mark in his neck. But
he was decapitated. Like
that's what I said though. He's sewn on back on. Because Littlefinger kind of implied, like, but I'm just saying he did say he was sending his remains back, so it sort of implies that the head, in order for dignity, let's pull that off the pole and sort of send it back. I'm just saying there's precedence for it. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but it is possible. That's all I'm saying. And for the sake of the show, if you see Ned pop up with his neck having that sewing line on his neck, with the white blue eyes.
Yeah, okay, but it was decapitated, and they have 3 episodes. Do you really think they're going to go with that?
Yep.
Yes.
For drama. And for the
drama. I think, John, I think that if we do see him rise and you see a head on him, they clearly put his head back on his body when Littlefinger brought back his remains. I think that's pretty
It was mentioned on screen, so I'm just saying there's room for that. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just not going to be shocked. There's a huge difference.
See, anyways, I would be.
You don't think they're going to try to shock people in these last few episodes? I mean, come on.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's been decaying for 8 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So, are we really supposed to know who he is? I mean, I think it's more. I think that we're going to see them rise. I doubt we're going to see Ned. We could, but I don't think so.
The Ned thing, I agree with you, could be iffy. I'm just saying I'm not going to be shocked. I'm not like, no, you guys are wrong. It's going to happen. I'm just saying
you're not really committed to this, is what it comes down to.
I'm not committed. Excuse me. I'm not going to be committed to it.
Great. That was beautiful, George.
Yeah.
That was lovely.
I know. I mean, Joe's not here, so, But I'm just saying I'm not committed to it, but I agree. I'm just saying it's possible for shock value that it's possible. But as far as the general,
I think we're going to get plenty of other shocks.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
I'm a little bit of the school that's kind of gratuitous and campy, that it doesn't really fit with the theme of this show, because they have, for all the fact that they're fighting, what are essentially zombies, they haven't really been campy about it. Okay, and so I think that's just a little over the top.
I think context is a key here. So if I was to tell you, Sean, that I have a script that I read where Ned Stark's going to pop up, if you don't see it like based on the music and the whole way they build up to it, you're going to go, "Oh, that sounds stupid." But even if I showed you the script, but when it happens on the show, the thing is like, if they do it, you know what I mean? It's like
that's
how
why
it happens.
I favor the White Walker theory.
But then there has to be a reason for it, George. And
I agree.
And the
why
thing
I'm
is,
leaving room for
what's the possible reason
Yeah,
for
the only
doing that?
purpose, the only motivation for that is exactly
shock.
what you said.
It's the only thing.
Shock value.
Shock is not a reason.
And that's not. I don't think that's good enough for this show. I don't. I just don't think that.
I hope you're right. I'm actually.
I have to agree with Carlos and Sean. That can't be the only reason.
No, listen. I agree with you guys. I'm not saying I want it to happen. I'm saying I wouldn't be shocked by it. That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't want it. I would, if I was writing the script and I decided, hey, let's do this. Honestly, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't throw that in there. I'm just telling you that, like, I wouldn't be shocked if it happens. But we also have to understand that it depends on, like, how they pull it off. They might find a way, and we might be surprised. I won't be shocked, but at the same time, I'm leaning towards, it's not going to happen. We might see a couple of people like maybe Rickon. He was the most recently dead Stark.
There we go.
Battle of the Bastards.
It's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. Did they ever? Yeah. Well, so Rickon died in the battlefield, so there's a good chance he's in that crypt. He's also most freshly dead, so we'll see. We will see. So, all right. So let's like someone suggested, let's wrap this up. So this episode was pretty shocking, and they left off where pretty much we know that this whole battle is about to start. It's going to be, from what I've heard, it's going to be the biggest battle ever filmed in history of TV, according to all media sources. So, holy shit. So this episode here, number 2, is getting it set up. I'm going to give it, out of 10, I'm going to give it, well, I have no reason not to, because it was just a episode we expected. Everything happened. I'm going to say 8.5 out of 10. What do you say, Carlos?
I'm going to say an 8.
Okay.
I think there was lots of love in this episode.
You guys are so stingy.
I'm pretty stingy.
Well, Carlos, I know you're because you're of House Harumph. It's not.
House Harumph.
We shall not spend. Is your motto.
There are 2 reasons why. One is, while I loved the character moments in this episode, it was in some ways thematically very similar to the character moments from last episode.
Yeah.
And so I would have liked to have seen, given the fact that we only have 6 episodes, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more forward progression in the actual plot. But that's it. If they'd shown a little bit more of that, I bump it up to an 8.5 or a 9.
Okay, that's fair.
But as it was, I was very satisfied with what I saw.
Okay. And John of House Kirk, Captain of House Kirk, out of 10, being analytical and fair, what would you rate this?
Okay. Based on what Carlos said too, I gotta go with Carlos on this because I have 7 like solid character moments. Like there's Gilly with Davos, and Davos with the fact that he's looking at the scarred child. That's a huge moment for me. Theon with Sansa.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Theon with Sansa. The Hound with Arya. Arya with Genya and Tormund. Yeah, and Tormund is my hero. The Night's Watch moment. Tarly. Sir Brienne. All these moments actually come, like, this is what I wanted to see. But at the same time, yeah, I want to see more of the story progress. So 8.5, that sounds good to me.
Okay. And Raul, what do you think?
I think it's a 9. I'm sorry, you guys are all very stingy. It's just
okay.
You can't ask for more. You can't ask.
I'm Scottish.
Yes.
Well,
I've been to Scotland.
It's no surprise that House Kirk sides with House Harumph. Historically, that's what happens.
Oh my god.
I'm done. Sean, go ahead.
Well,
Yeah,
it's funny for you guys are coming up with the exact same logic for why I was less impressed last week, but it's really funny because I'm the same reasoning I'm flipping on because I I've got a different perspective on it now than I did last week, and I kind of see what they're doing, and I love this episode because I decided not to be so caught up on the fact that we're not jumping right into the action on this. Whereas last week it annoyed the piss out of me, but I guess I'm resigned to that fact of how they're doing this build up, so I'm okay with it. And I'm up there. I'm with Raul. This was a 9.5. I think this is one of the best episodes of the series.
A lot of people have said that.
The acting is phenomenal.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed
for sure.
I thoroughly enjoyed all the character moments of this so much, and this was the bringing together of all the heroes on the eve of battle, and it was very Shakespearean. I mean, it was great.
Yes. I would totally agree with that.
It was Hamlet.
Yeah, and I want to point out something too, is that I'm seeing a metaphor here. That when they keep talking about I choose the side of life, and that as opposed to the side of death, I think the metaphor here is bigger than that, as life being a metaphor for love and death being a metaphor for hate. And I think that is truly what you're seeing here. You're seeing people here who are ultimately choosing the side of love of our fellow human beings here, which is very odd in Game of Thrones. It's not about self-interest anymore. And by Jaime choosing the side of love/life, that means that Cersei is on the side of death/hate.
Interestingly, you said that. We don't see a Cersei.
Right. Okay.
So what I'm saying here is that I think that the separation, the cut, it's a clean break for Jaime, as painful as it is with him and Cersei. It's a clean break now because she's chosen her side.
I agree with you. Yep.
So all of this together, I've really taken this episode to heart. Probably, like I said, more than any other episode. I'm giving it a 9.5 because only reason why is because I'm sure in the next 4 weeks they're going to do something that's going to blow my fucking mind. I'm going to have to give something a 10. So
a little
I'm
more than
giving
4,
it 9.5. Well, you know what I'm saying. Next 4.
Yeah, I know.
We got 4 episodes to go.
See, I would go with that, but I'm waiting for the Richard II speech. I'm waiting for that Winston Churchill moment when somebody says, "This is the time," blah blah blah. I'm waiting for that moment, and that didn't happen this episode.
So here's a good question: who do we think is going to make that speech?
Damn, I
That's
honestly
a good
can't
question.
predict that.
Wow.
I don't think it's Jon because he's not really a speech maker.
I think it's going to be Davos.
Tyrion.
I think it's going to be Tyrion. Tyrion.
No, I think Tyrion's no. Davos.
I think Tyrion or Dany, although not enough people trust Dany. Davos, has the gravitas for sure, but he's also not.
I think it's going to be him.
He's also not polished enough.
No.
Jorah?
Right.
Maybe.
Could be Jorah.
No. Someone with who's got the population base?
It doesn't matter. I think it's going to be Davos.
Sansa. Maybe
herself. You know what? Sansa is possible. I agree. Or Lyanna
Sansa,
before she dies, but she's going to die. She is going to die.
George,
you know what?
Can't predict everybody's going to die.
No, not everybody, but she is going to die. I'm just telling
lives?
You.
Wait. That's a
I think Tyrion's your best bet there, folks.
Yeah, I agree with House Kirk.
Nope.
Yeah. I think
I heard it in a whisper.
Shit. So okay, go ahead. Alright, so I think that, I mean, look, every time we make a prediction, it's based on the information we have at the time. Alright, unless we see leaks or whatever. But I think that the Mormonts are, I don't know. I love that girl, the little girl, she's growing up now, but I love the actress.
Lyanna's amazing. Lyanna of Mormont is amazing.
Yeah. I love her. I hate to say it, but
she's gonna die too.
She's gonna die next.
She's gonna die.
Yeah, she's dead next.
You've told us 3 times, George.
So let's wrap this up. So, Mr. Kirk, Captain of the House Kirk, John.
At your command. Yeah, yes.
Where can people find you? Where would you like people to find you if they were to look for you on social media?
Oh, okay. Well, on Twitter, I'm at Cap J Kirk. I'm on popmythology.com. I write for trekcore.com, and in print, I write for Back Issue Magazine.
Excellent, and I like Trekcore. It's a good site. I've got a lot of my stuff that I stole from there. Anyways,
thank you. But I just wrote an article on Iron Man. It should be coming out in a couple of months. And
wait, it's Iron Man.
And did a story on Space 1999. So that's coming out as well.
I love that show. Even it was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was great.
Hey, it's on. By the way, Space 1999 is on Amazon Prime Video. I don't know if you guys are aware.
Shut up! Really?
It is. It's been out for a couple of months.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a rewatch.
Yeah. Seriously.
Oh my god! Totally.
By the way, YouTube has all of them too. Just let you know.
Well, but it's in full HD on Amazon Prime Video. It's
all right. Well, that chick with the sideburns, she's hot.
Well, the thing about it, if you take a look right now, Amazon Prime Video, I don't know why they're not advertising this more, but they have a ton of fucking great lost sci-fi series.
It's funny
on there,
and
it's not just about Babylon 5 and Farscape. Trust me, dig in there, you'll find some gems. It's amazing.
All right, no more about
Jerry. Okay, I'm just gonna say this: Jerry Anderson, like Joe 90, Space 1999, Thunderbirds. All the puppet stuff that he did, like it's Space out Precinct. There. It's amazing.
Space Precinct is on. Is that what it is? Space Precinct.
Thunderbird.
Oh my god! Yeah, I forgot about that.
It's on fucking Amazon Prime Video, dude.
Right.
I saw it the other night.
And Mr. Carlos of House Harumph. I don't even know how to say it the right way, but House Harumph.
Harumph.
Okay, so where can people find you?
I can be found writing at axemonitor.com, on the Axe Monitor Facebook page, and also the Axe Monitor discussion group on Facebook. And you can find them both by putting Axe Monitor into your Facebook search engine. I'm on Twitter at Axe Monitor and at C Pedraza.
And I don't want to whisper because the audience won't hear us. But Raul, where can people find you?
I heard a rumor you were going to ask me that.
Anyway. I heard it too. Go ahead.
So you can find me on Facebook. My full name is Raul Padron. I live in Arizona. I'm a handsome, kind of Italian-looking man, but I'm really Cuban. So there you
go. He likes long walks on the beach. And
Not
long
that you
walks
know,
on the beach
and puppies.
And puppies.
I do love puppies.
He does actually. He has some cute dogs.
I have two.
He has two. And for anybody out there on Tinder and Grindr, we will link you.
Yeah, either one. At this point, I'm not too picky.
So, dog lovers, watch out. And Sean, you are the guy. That guy that comes on and says, "What's up, people?" Sean Snow. Where can people find you?
Well, you can find me on pretty much on Facebook in our TR Super Geeks, Real Super Geeks group, of course, and at the Axe Monitor Facebook group, which I am proudly an admin over there, and pretty much anywhere where I can troll idiots of fandom. If you find stupid fandom, chances are you'll find me there trolling them.
Dear God, that's awesome.
He does take a great delight in doing that.
Yeah,
oh boy, do I ever.
Very much. And so you can find us on Subspace Radio on Mondays. It does change a little bit, but subspace-radio.net. Schedule's on there. You can check it out. And you can find us there on Mondays. And you can find us also now, we have a new thing, at Geeks_TR. That's our that's our Twitter. Our Twitter. So we have a Twitter now, so we're cool now. Instagram's coming next. And so we're cool. So you can find us there. Also, you can find us on YouTube at TR Super Geeks. The real Super Geeks. TR Super Geeks. So, yeah. Awesome. I want to thank Mr. Kirk, Captain of House Kirk, whatever he wants to call himself. No, it's confusing.
Please come back, Captain.
I'm happy to. I'm happy to, and you can just call me John. It's easy.
Yeah, we'll link all this, so it doesn't matter what we say live because I'm going to link all of this. You are going to be pimped, my friend. It's all good.
What about you?
So I want to thank you for joining us, and maybe we'll have you back again for a future episode. Game of Thrones has at least, 4 more episodes? Yeah, 4 more episodes to go.
More episodes.
It's going to be awesome. And that final episode is going to be, oh my effing God. Anyways, so I want to thank everyone for joining us, and we will join you. Oh, hang on. I want to thank you. I can't say it for the words ahead. How does that go? I always forget. It's the last minute.
This is the inebriated portion of the show.
No,
folks.
yeah, it's
Be happy it lasted as long as it did.
It's I want to wish you good fortune
I'm
in the games in the
that.
wars to come. Yeah, that's it. Something like that.
Yeah,
was
that
that?
went smoothly. That was great.
Wait.
I feel the troops are inspired.
Okay. I wish you good fortune
To abandon.
in the wars to come, especially when Raoul is the Baoul.
What?
They don't know what Baul means.
Yeah, this is the wrong fandom, dude.
Yeah, this is different fandom.
I just crossed the streams, and I'm sorry about that, but
Oh, George.
goodbye, everybody.
boy.
Goodbye, everybody.
May your blades find their mark.
That works. Let's do that.
Perfect.
Let's go with that. Goodbye, before I screw it up.